I'll be able to lick my wounds at the end of the NHL season by watching the NFL draft that starts next Thursday because personally I love watching the NFL draft, especially like day 3 when it's the obscure guys where it's the scouts that are getting their shot in the big room to pick their guy on one of those late days, and you have the guys at the TV table scrambling trying to talk about someone that they might only have a few clips of.
Yeah, no, I think the NFL draft is a lot of fun, Higgins. I saw something Bud Light is giving away $15 million if you get the first 32 picks correct in order. So it doesn't need to be the teams, you just need to get the picks right, right? So
Okay.
when I win my $15 million, Higgins, you will not be seeing me ever again. I will be on my private island, no internet there, really tough to reach me.
That
So
15 million is not turning into your new bankroll?
no, I'm just probably gonna go sail away, not show up to the office, not show up to the podcast.
Well, I feel like that's probably about as hard as getting a perfect bracket in March Madness.
I don't think any. I think that 15 million is safe. I don't think
I think that
Bud
15 million
Light.
is very
I don't
safe,
think
yeah.
Bud Light's giving that away. But just so everyone knows, it's mine.
So, I'll ask you since we're going to briefly talk about the draft right now. What's your merit for mock drafts? For example, I saw a mock draft, I think it was Maurice Jones-Drew, a former running back. He had 4 quarterbacks in the top 10. I don't know where that's coming from. I'm definitely not expecting that, but it seems like it's chaos and shuffling and shots in the dark a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, look, my guess is the people that put these out are talking to someone, whether it
I'd hope
be
so.
a team scout or something, right? Or, maybe they have good relationships with the college player, right? And, or
Hmm.
the agent, and this is what the agent's telling him, right? So, my guess is, Higgins, it comes from some sort of info, right? And then, you have to also understand, like, if this is coming from an agent, like, do I think he's trying to build his guy up? Do I think there's a realistic shot his guy could go here, right? So that's kind of up to the mock drafter, I guess. But I'll say this: I think mock drafts are fun to talk about. I think generally speaking, maybe the first 2 to 5 picks people are
Paying
on
attention
or
to.
near, right? Like on or near. And then yeah, anything can happen. I think a lot of times what blows up these mock drafts and people don't really take into consideration is, a trade is
Hmm.
made, right? So like some team trades into the top 6, top 7, right? And that affects the draft order. Maybe this is a QB hungry team trading up to 5 to jump ahead of the Carolina Panthers at 6, who a team, that is jumping in has deemed, oh, the Panthers are picking a quarterback, we have to get ahead of them, right? So you don't know what all 32 teams are thinking. There's rarely a consensus throughout, right? Because even on an own team scouting department, you're going to have, the entire scouting department submit rankings, position rankings, player rankings, right? And they'll fill out their own mock drafts, and no one's going to have the exact, or you hope no one has the exact same thing.
This is also, I'd say, a very unique draft because, for one, it's not a quarterback dominant draft that's who everyone's talking about going number 1 overall. No one's really talking about a quarterback going number 1 overall this year. And typically, those years, they can be looked at as weaker drafts. This is being talked about as a very strong draft in a number of positions, both on offense and defense. And to our trade talk that we had at the top of the show about Debo Samuel or someone like AJ Brown or even DK Metcalf, who all have had their names in the rumor mill as teams are talking and discussing trying to get up in the draft. I think the biggest thing that hurts those guys in terms of trade potential and their value is how many good potential receivers there are in this draft and how many receivers there are being talked about in the top first 2 rounds being potentially taken.
Maybe Higgins. I would say probably not going to have anyone put up Deebo Samuel or A.J. Brown numbers this year, but you're right. These players can certainly develop into number 1 wide receivers. Obviously, Deebo Samuel wasn't what he is today, year 1 or day 1, right? A.J. Brown, same thing, but
the last 2 years, we've seen Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase shatter rookie receiving records. So is this just going to keep happening in this pass-hungry league that we see right now, or are those two just that gifted?
Well, I mean,
think there's that gifted
for
part of it.
every Justin Jefferson, there's a Jalen Reagor. For every, DK Metcalf, right? There's a Arcega Whiteside. There was Miles Boykins, a Ravens player, was waived the other day. He was a former third-round wide receiver out of Notre Dame. This is, that's a pretty solid investment in your football team, a third-round pick, Higgins. And, this guy's waived a few years later. So you're hoping at the 10th pick, at the 11th pick, at the 15th pick, you're hoping you could draft an A.J. Brown. But wouldn't you rather just have an A.J. Brown?
That's the debate going on in a lot of these front offices. And sometimes you're also debating, do you want the young legs or do you want the guy that's proven but potentially has had some injury history like A.J. Brown? I don't know. It's very interesting. We've had such an explosive offseason in terms of players being moved and everything. I almost expect there to be more trades in this final week, but who knows? Maybe it's all just settled down and everyone's holding their cards tight, and until Thursday, we're not going to hear anything.